Criminal defense attorney Jessa Nicholson joins us once again to discuss the latest developments in the trial. Jessa, thanks for being with us.
Hi, Jessa.
Good afternoon, folks. How are you?
Pretty good. Let's talk about this MSNBC business with the judge barring them after a freelance producer followed the jury bus last night. How disturbing is that?
I'm appalled beyond measure. It is absolutely vital to the practical functioning of the criminal justice system that jurors who are ordinary citizens, these are not people that have sought out fame or fortune, they are ordinary people who are going home to their families. They need their privacy protected and they need to be free from intimidation when they're making this very important decision. Well, I absolutely support the judge's decision to bar them from the courtroom. I don't care that they weren't intending to speak to them. It's intimidating to be followed.
Yeah, okay. Well, the jury has been deliberating 23 hours now, over 3 days. They've been dismissed for the evening, so there will not be a verdict tonight. The longer this takes, does that seem to favor one side over the other?
No. I see a lot of people saying, well, you know, it must mean that they're going to compromise and convict on a lesser included, or it must mean that they're probably going to convict. You know, the longer a jury is out, the more likely a conviction is. I've seen some experts say that. The only thing that we can say for sure right now is they're not in agreement. We don't know what the count is. It could be 11-1 to acquit or convict. It could be that they're stuck on one part of this. You know, there was that controversial provocation instruction given. There might be jurors that are still stuck on does that apply or not. So all we know from how long it's taken is that there's no agreement. We don't know why, and we don't know if it's likely or not that there will be one. This jury's been vocal with questions. I think if they were hung, we'd know it.
I was going to ask you, what is the chance that this reflects it might be a hung jury?
We haven't heard any suggestion of that from the jury, and they've been sending questions. They've asked for exhibits. They know that this judge communicates with them. They know that they're given the opportunity to go home at reasonable hours. I think that if they were concerned about their ability to reach a verdict, they would have alerted us.
The defense has filed 3 motions for a mistrial. Has the judge ruled yet on any of them?
No, and that is extremely concerning to me. And if you're interested, I will tell you why.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So what we have here are, it's important to note that there's at least one mistrial motion pending with prejudice, which means that he would not be able to be retried, and at least one pending without prejudice. The judge has decided that he's not going to issue rulings if there are acquittals, which of course makes sense, but that he will rule on these motions after a verdict if there is a verdict of guilty. Now, to me, this is irresponsible from a public safety standpoint because I can't think of much that damages the integrity of the legal process more than the appearance of a judge taking a jury's verdict away. I have a concern about how the public will react to that, even if there are valid grounds for the mistrial, and I think there may be. The appearance of impropriety there, particularly happening after such a lengthy trial and lengthy deliberations in a case this controversial, I think that's a really dangerous idea. I would urge, you know, if it were me, particularly if I were the prosecution and we're speaking for the people of Kenosha, I would want those rulings now. I think arguably there's a concern about if there's grounds for a mistrial, then this jury really shouldn't be giving a verdict because that verdict wouldn't have been reached fairly. And if there aren't grounds, why the suspense?
Your dog agrees with you, I think.
I think, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
No, that's okay. I got dogs at home. We all understand. Thank you for the insight.
Yep.
Interesting
All right.
as usual. Thank you.
Jessa.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.